Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ping for Nights with Ping. How are you? Hope you're all having a fun time in the chat. Hope you had fun with Trish. Like just under an hour ago, she had Cynic on. Cynic's always really interesting to listen to. I quite enjoy when they talk about John Bonet and other cases. Normally John Bonet, but very very clever, more than I could ever think of. Hey, people in the chat: Candy Williams, Peekaboo Cockatiel, Laura. Laura was here. Hold on. Huh. Of course, I have to get a hair in my mouth before I start speaking. Lindy. Lindy, do you know what? I just got a email from you. I really appreciate it. I know you were asking for a Venmo, and Venmo is not available in Australia, but I just got an email about a donation to my PayPal. Thank you so much. You're actually the first one to this channel, the very first one. So I'll always remember that, Lynn. Thank you very much. Hey, Vegemite Smile, how are you? Peekaboo Cock and Steel says, Trish, I missed you tonight. I know. Trish knows why I've been away. I'll let you guys know soon. It's nothing crazy bad or anything. It's just been one of those weeks where I've been getting in at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, about 2:20, and then been coming straight here. So I've been unfortunately missed the show, but the last day was today, and I'll be back tomorrow night. I don't know if Trish told you, but you'll find out tomorrow. I think we'll have a good show for you tomorrow night on Web Sleuth. So, but for tonight, we have some really interesting news. I know so many people have been asking me for months and months and months about the lady in the wall. Today, I woke up to really great news that they had finally identified her, and it's really interesting. I'm just going to pull up the article about her, and we're going to have a look. For many months, I'm not sure if they used genealogy. It doesn't say in the articles that I have, but I'm interested in how they figured it out. Oh, why is it not working? My net just went down. What is going on? All right, hold on. Sorry, people. I'm the worst host in the world. It was just here and then it went. Hold on, guys. This is a slick production. So slick. Everything's sorted out and on time. I've caught Trish disease. Technology disabled, or, differently abled. Tanya Lee Glover. There we go. One coming up. There we go. That's better. All right. Now it's working. All right. Channel 9 were one of the first people to have the news back in December, and they had the video about where they found her. We watched that months ago on the other channel. But it says here, the woman whose remains were found wrapped and stuffed behind a block wall at a Brisbane apartment block in December has been identified as Tanya Lee Glover. Police believe Glover, who was born August 1st, 1971, was about 38 years old at the time of her death, which was about 12 years ago. And her death is the subject of a homicide investigation. I mean, obviously, I'm not sure how she would have wrapped herself tightly in cloth and put herself behind a wall. It's not something you could do on your own, I don't think. Although there have been people that have been trapped places and died, or went under their homes or in walls and died, but she was wrapped up in a cloth or something like that. So there's no way she could have done it to herself. It says cleaners came across her remains behind a wall in the basement of the unit complex in Adderley Avenue in Adderley on December 7th, 2020. Unfortunately, this is the only image we have of her, and it's a really blurry image. I'm not sure why it looks like this, and it's such a shame, because it would be nice to have a clearer image of the lady. Hopefully family members come out, or someone comes out that can give us a nicer photo of her. She deserves to look good in her articles about her and with her name in it. It says at the time, Detective Superintendent Andrew Massingham said it was believed her remains had been hidden there for about 7 years. think they're saying it's maybe longer than that now. He has said it is believed Glover was killed in or around 2009 or 2010. Police believe Glover moved to Queensland from New South Wales in 2006 and lived alone in the Fortitude Valley area until around 2010. She was vision and hearing impaired and very much kept to herself, having a quiet and subdued lifestyle, the superintendent told the media. She was not formally known to Queensland Police, and no missing person reports were made about her. That really makes me a bit funny. Like, maybe it was someone related to her or someone who knew her, and that's why she was never reported missing. You would think she'd have friends, even if she had a quiet lifestyle. Someone would have had to have known her. It says here painstaking searches across national national databases since the 7th of December last year continued to draw a blank for an ID. Now, here we go. Explaining that genealogical data had eventually led police to tracking her down. Man, genealogy data has solved so many cases recently. It's like magic. It's like true crime magic. It really is. It says Superintendent Massingham said the crucial next step was finding out who had targeted the vulnerable single female, with an autopsy having revealed Glover's body suffered trauma. He said this is concerning and peculiar. Police want to speak to anyone who may have known Glover or had any interactions with her, particularly my pronunciation's dead. Particularly between 2006 and 2010. He said police had informed Glover's parents of her death. If she had parents and they were alive, why did they not know she had been missing for 12 years? Was she not, like, in contact with them or something like that? I find that interesting. Like, did they not know she lived there when it was all over the news in December? Did they not go, oh, our daughter lived there, like, 12 years ago, and, oh, we haven't heard from her in a while. I wonder if that's her. Like, it's really need more information. They are traumatized as a result of the news. They fell out of contact with her some time ago. Yeah, that's fine. But still, it's interesting. She is described as Caucasian in appearance between 155 and 165 centimeters tall and having dark brown hair. And they said anyone who has information can contact Crime Stoppers on 1-800 333 000. I am very, I want to know more about it. Yeah, that's what I want to know, Laura. Someone must know her or something like they had interaction through health services or eyesight services, something like that. Lindy says, I got PayPal to work for me. My bank was doing strange things with PayPal, but probably will be okay for now. Lindy, thank you so much. I did say thank you at the start of the show. I really appreciate it if you didn't hear it. You were the first donation to this channel. So it's like when you put the dollar bill on the wall, when you first get, like, when you open a shop, I'm going to remember that it was Lindy that supported the channel first. Well, probably Trish, but Lindy gets to be the first viewer. Trish has done a lot of supporting in other ways, and she probably gets the first, she gets the first go at being called the first fan, I guess. Laura says, awful, somebody surely misses her. Hopefully her family comes forward. Well, her parents know now, and they sound like they're very upset at the news. I mean, who wouldn't be? It's interesting. Did someone kill her for her money, like Social Security money? That's where I would be looking at in the investigation. Was someone had access to, like, her bank card? Were they pilfering money from her? I've seen cases before where people kill someone where they know they're getting, benefits, and they keep the benefits coming in, and they take it from the account for, years. So I wonder if it's something like that, because it does say she had hearing and vision issues. So it's possible she was on some sort of, government payment to help, her lifestyle and things like that, keep her healthy. So I would be looking there, and I'm sure the police already are. They're very clever. But her autopsy revealing that she suffered trauma, that need more information to know what it is. But did someone hit her over the head, or hit her with a car or something? Who knows? Hey, Gambler, good to see you. Candy Williams, hello, my friend. How are you? Lindy says, first time I've ever been first for anything. Oh, that's okay. You could be first here. Candy Williams says, I remember another case from 2009 where a lab tech hit a body of a girl. Right. I saw a documentary on that. He worked at the hospital or wherever it was, and he hid her in the ceiling. Is that right? And yeah, and they tracked him down really quickly because they had cameras everywhere, and he was the only one to go in that room. Wasn't there like a fire alarm or something, and everyone had to leave? Really interesting case, that one. Danny Mitchell, has anyone seen the story of the social media 14-year-old and her brother who supposedly died? Yes, I saw that on Twitter this morning. Isn't there some disagreement whether she's actually dead or not? Her name is Little Tay, and they're saying her and her brother. Let me see. Last I heard, there was no official confirmation that she had actually died. It was just one post by one of her accounts that said they had both died. But yeah, see here, the Vancouver and Los Angeles police departments have denied they're investigating the death of Little Tay, claims they have no record of her death, and have not been alerted of her death. Now, being that she is so young, and even her brother being fairly young himself, anyone under 50 who dies under, weird circumstances or any circumstances at all normally gets reported to police. They would find out somehow through the hospital, through the coroner, through the morgue. Somehow they would get wind of it. And if they had two young people die, it would get the news would get to police for sure. Someone I did see said there was a 14-year-old girl who died in a jet ski crash in the same week. It was in Canada. If I can find it, I'll show you. I just wanted to show you what she looks like. Here we go. You can see here, this is her, apparently. This is when she used to do like her rap videos and things like that. Very, very young girl. Let me see if I can find the thing about the jet ski crash. Yeah, I wondered, is this like some sort of publicity for like a new persona online? Sort of like, we killed little Tay off, and now she's going to be like a beauty blogger or something. I've seen people do stuff like that. I'm not sure if that's what they mean. Hold on, let me see if I can find the jet ski crash. Here we go. 4 days ago, CBC has it. Share this tab. This is the one I saw someone connect saying, it says RCMP say Alberta teen dead after jet ski collision on Skaha Lake in BC interior. And it was basically saying that this was the only 14-year-old article they could find. RCMP say they were taken to hospital where one of them, a 14-year-old girl from Alberta, died of her injuries. And apparently that's this is the only article of a 14-year-old dying in the last 7 days. So I don't know if that's related or it's a completely different 14-year-old. But you would think, since they contacted the RCMP, if this was related, they would have said so because they were contacted for comment. So I don't see why they would lie and be like, yeah, it's not the same girl, or we don't know anything. So I don't know. We really need a family member, a proper family member, to come out and say what's going on with this particular one. Gambler says, I remember that one. I think they just replayed it recently on 48 Hours or Dateline or 2020. Yes, it was in the wall, not the roof. Yeah, really interesting case. It was the lab tech where he killed a work friend, and was it like a rejected romance thing? I can't remember. It's been a while since I watched the 48 Hours or Dateline or whatever it was on it. I know Dateline right now is doing their summer thing where they don't produce any new episodes. So each Friday night they do a classic Dateline and they replay old ones. So maybe that's where you saw it. Let me have a look. Let's talk about mushrooms though. I really want to talk about this because it is really interesting. Everything's like heating up. Even if this is still an accident, we don't know. It still looks weird. This is the news out today. Apparently, Erin Patterson arranged the meal to win back her estranged husband and convince his parents and the church she was good enough to get back together with him. So apparently, it was sort of like an intervention. They had separated. They, the parents didn't think she was right for him and really didn't want her getting back romantically with him at all. They just didn't want her involved, didn't think her headspace was in the right, place. And this dinner was brought together to try and, this lunch was brought together to try and convince them, hey, I'm doing pretty good. Look, I make quite a bit of money from real estate. I've been doing okay on my own and the kids are doing okay. I think we should get back together. Look, even my pastor who was there at the lunch, he thinks I'm doing good too. And she ends up killing 3 of the people she was trying to win over and say that she should get back with her, estranged husband. It's really, really weird. That's the estranged husband. Apparently, he's gone into hiding. He does not want to sort of give any comment or anything like that. Although friends of his have come out and spoken about a few things. I think we have a quote up here. No, it's down here, sorry. Yeah, see, a source close to Simon, who remains in hiding days after the tragedy, told Daily Mail Australia his mate had no interest in getting back together with the mother of his 2 children. So he was like, nah, no way. I have no interest in having her back. He's probably like, I went through hospital and stuff and I'm a little suspicious. No, I don't know if that's true, but there was that comment last night. So see here, they went to her house for a mediation to talk to the family. Simon was supposed to be there as well, but he pulled out at the last minute. Otherwise, he would have been in a deathbed too, the friend said. The people who died, Gail, Don, and the Wilkinsons, were talking to them because they're heavily ingrained with the church, and they wanted to make sure she was right to resume a relationship with Simon. She was basically petitioning to get back with him, and the family didn't think it was a good move. Would you kill people on purpose, the people you're trying to... Well, I guess it solves your problem, doesn't it? It sort of gets the people the roadblock out of the way, but you'll never get the husband back. If he finds out you killed his mom and dad, he's never going to get back with you either way. The friend claimed Mrs. Patterson was desperate to get back together with her estranged husband. She wanted to get back with Simon, and the family didn't want Simon to get back with her. They basically didn't think she was good enough for him in their eyes. Apparently she's quite wealthy too. Apparently when her mother died, she inherited quite a bit of money and she invested in the local real estate scene and made good money from it. So she's not someone who is financially, in trouble or anything. She owns all her properties outright. Simon actually still lives in a property that's under her name, and that's still the case today. So it's a bit of a tangled web. And Laura Thomas says, wow, is that the motive? I have no idea. Candy Williams, a mushroom lady, her ex is saying she put in. So I thought that too, and I don't know where that source is coming from, but it says down here that not once did Simon ever say he thought his wife was trying to kill him or hurt him. So I don't know where the source from yesterday came from saying that, he thought he had been sick a few times after visiting her. It says further down here that it's not the case, that he reckons he never suggested to anyone that she was trying to hurt him or kill him. I mean, maybe they're two different things, but... And then apparently we found out what the lunch item was. Well, I kept thinking it was like a risotto or something like that, but apparently it was a beef Wellington, which, if you don't know what a beef Wellington is, it's like, what's the cut of a beef Wellington? Is it prime? What's the cut they normally use in the middle of a beef Wellington? It's that really soft one that's like... No, the one up from that. Prime rib? What's the really soft one that everyone pays a lot of money for? Ribeye. So most people put ribeye in the middle, and then it's surrounded by mushrooms and then pastry, right? It's got like a mushroom, they chop it really fine, and they saute it, and then surround the beef with the pastry and the mushrooms. Yeah, and then you bake it, and it's really nice. But apparently that is the meal she cooked, which is a really fancy meal. If you make it yourself, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's quite easy to screw up. So if she made something like that, it's pretty impressive. So maybe that's why she did it, because it is impressive. But where did the mushrooms come from? A little more on that. Yesterday, there was an article that said in her first interview with police, she told police she got it from a grocery store in the town. In her subsequent talking with other people, she's given a no comment. Now, I don't know if that's to police or just reporters. A couple of different newspapers have just reporters. Some people say it's police as well. But if she got it from a local store, you would think there would be a recall, or other people in the town would have got ill as well. So it's a little weird. Candy Williams said he was so sick last year after eating something she cooked that they had to put him in a induced coma. Yeah, he had to have surgery on his on his smaller intestines, and he had to have other types of some sort of surgery as well. Gambler says, what are the odds that things go horribly wrong when you're trying to win someone back? I could see a dinner burning and the meat being ruined. Could be. Yeah, I'm confused as well, because if she's saying she got it from a grocery store, how does that work? I don't really understand. Candy Williams says Perth Now and News Talk NZ, among others, report that Simon said she tried to poison him. I know, I read the same report yesterday, but then let me see if I can find it for you. There's another report that gives the opposite opinion, and that's the issue we have with cases like this. Sometimes you get two bits of information that contradict each other. Let me see if I can find it. Here. Several of Simon's friends have told Daily Mail Australia he never once accused his ex-wife of foul play. So that's contradictory to the statement that got published yesterday. So I don't know. But apparently on Thursday, which is today in Australia, Miss Patterson lashed out at a waiting media pack who accused her of making her a prisoner in her own home. Well, I can see where she's going. I get it. You got like a ton of press outside your home. It's not very nice. She says, I've got tons of friends who want to help me, but I've told them to stay away while all the vultures are here, because they don't want to be in the papers either. So I can't get help from my friends who all want to come and help me, but they'll all be subjected to the crap. So do I have to move out of my own home? It's very me. That's whenever she speaks, it's always about what's going on with her. Why it's a trouble for her. When she spoke to them the first time, she did something very similar. She was all like, I'm devastated. It's horrible for me. And I think, isn't it horrible for the people you killed and the person you put in hospital? I mean, she did say in the first interview, she hopes that he gets better and he gets out of hospital and he pulls through. That's true. She did say that, but she is very self-reflecting, and she looks into and says things about herself a lot. Candy Williams says, I guess we should wait and see what develops. Yeah, it's the reason I didn't run with that piece of information is because I was worried because of that statement saying that it was the opposite. I didn't want to be one of these people that, even though some people will accuse me that I am because I'm speaking about it, but, I wanted to at least present both statements that were out. But yeah, this was the tip that they were at. They had this area over here circled in another photo, but I can't tell anything that's here except it looks like trash and metal. So I can't really see anything myself. But yeah, I hope yeah. See, police say the symptoms experienced by victims were consistent with death cap mushroom poisoning, which can lead to kidney and liver failure. Apparently, the sole survivor, Ian Wilkinson, remains in a critical condition on Wednesday night, still awaiting that liver transplant. Jeez, poor fellow. And they said the police had returned to the tip for a second time to request CCTV footage after the dehydrator was found at the dump site. Why would you use a dehydrator for um, beef Wellington? You wouldn't use that, would you? Yeah, you would just saute and then chop, or chop and then saute. You wouldn't use a dehydrator. You use it for a risotto or something like that, or a pasta, or a soup, or a stew, but not a beef Wellington unless you rehydrated it with stock in the pan. I don't know. Never done it like that myself. But Candy Williams, what is going on? Oh, my stupid thing. Every time I leave the page, it slows down the chat for me. But yeah, I think we're about half an hour. I'm trying to keep these to half an hour so they're just quick little updates about different stories each afternoon. Everyone's done 2 hours with Trish, and I don't want to keep you guys here for, a million other hours. So let me just check one other source of information and see if we can find something else about the mushrooms. It looks like most of the news sources have the same info. Here you have another one, news.com.au. Basically the same thing. Lunch left 3 people fighting for life. Cooked a beef Wellington pie for lunch in her home in Leongatha, 2 hours southeast of Melbourne on July 29th. Miss Patterson had invited her ex-husband Simon's parents, Gail and Don, his aunt, Heather, and her pastor husband, Ian, to the home in an effort to try and negotiate a reconciliation with her ex. Simon was also invited but pulled out at the last minute. Yeah, same thing. It's all about the mediation talks and how she wanted Simon back. There's really not much else than that. I think we're due for a police press conference. I think the innuendo and speculation in the media sort of needs to be either confirmed or stamped out. And they could do that by having a press conference tomorrow, which is Friday, before the weekend. So you don't have the entire weekend and people stewing on the same information, and then it sort of becomes like fact, and it'll be much harder to wind it back should they do a press conference next week, because then everyone just thinks it's the correct information because it's been around for so long. So I would like to see that from the police, even just a small update with a radio station or something like that, just to confirm some of these details. So it says here, in 2014, Woolworths was accused of selling the mushrooms accidentally at a Canberra store after a woman fell ill. She had to have a liver transplant and was in a coma for a week after ingesting the death caps. The woman was insistent the mushrooms could have only been purchased from the supermarket chain. It was a claim ferociously denied by Woolworths. Now, Woolworths is like Walmart down here or something like that. It's a really big grocery store chain, one of the biggest. We have two. It's Woolworths and Coles. They're both probably like about as big as each other. That Woolworths is fairly massive down here. That's very interesting that she thought. I don't know how that would happen unless they had some sort of wild mushrooms they were selling. Normally, the white mushrooms they get come from a mushroom farm where they literally grow them in coffee, like coffee kind of grounds, like wasted ones. You get them from like probably different places. I'm not sure where they get them, but they sometimes often grow them in mix of soil and coffee, and that's where you get all that black stuff over your mushrooms. But they come from an actual farm where they grow specific mushrooms from specific spores. So I don't know why she would have had a death cap mushroom in there. It's a bit weird. Oh, my email just tells me apparently I'm live. Okay. Oh, okay. Apparently, yeah, I don't know why it's telling me I'm live almost half an hour later, but that's okay. Let me check the chat. Lynn D says maybe she dehydrated the mushrooms to keep them longer. It very well could be. Gambler says if there are no other reports of people getting sick, it looks very suspicious. She could have bought some at the store, so she would be seen on camera. Right, that's what I think too. It's really easy to corroborate her story if it was a local store. She could have just gone there and even a credit card receipt or something like that, camera from outside with her car. Then it's the the allegations are not on her, it's on the store to prove they didn't sell something that hurt someone. And that's a different matter entirely. There's other laws they can use to charge owners of stores and food places with different crimes. It's called selling food that you know is like not okay, and they can get really in a lot of trouble. Big fines and 500K, that type of thing. Laura says, especially if she did buy the mushrooms, they are the source. It needs to be recalled or something to a no one. Yeah, so no one else gets ill. But you would think if it came from a store during that weekend or even just before the weekend, mushrooms don't last all that long. Other people would have used them as well. Why is no one else in hospital? Or why did no one else die? I don't understand that. PB&J says the church guest did not get sick. No, he did. All four of them did. He's alive, but he's waiting on a liver transplant. The other three passed away. I think I have a um a family tree we can look at quickly. There we go. Just let me make that a bit better. There you go. So, hey, so you have Erin. That's her estranged partner Simon, and it was Simon's mum and dad who died, and it was his mum's sister who was married to the pastor Ian. Ian's the one who needs a liver transplant. Heather, she passed away as well, unfortunately. So that family actually lost like two sisters in the family, which is very awful. And one of them lost her husband. So very, very terrible. And then there's two children who have been removed from Erin's care for the time being, just due to for their own protection. So they're not. I haven't heard anything about who they're with or where they're staying. Normally, that information doesn't get put out online. Yes, it was Candy Williams. It was Simon's parents who objected to the relationship. Yep, they did not want them getting back together at all. And this lunch was to try and convince Gail and Don to let Erin back with Simon. And Ian was a friend of Erin's and was trying to convince the Don and Gail to kind of let them have another go of it. And that's what the whole lunch was about. It was sort of to convince them that she'd been doing really good, and she thinks that I've improved myself, and that I should have a shot at a family with your husband, with your son, and yeah. Apparently, no. Apparently, three of them died instead. Which, if this is all a big mistake or something, that's got to be just horrible. Like, your chances of ever getting back with Simon again are zero. He will never go back with the woman who killed his parents. You can't imagine that. Although, hey, stranger things have happened in true crime. People have married their abusers and murderers, and people have killed people and stuff. So, never say never. But if he was already saying no, this would be like a hard no now. Like, really hard no. Kenny Williams says, awfully suspicious. Yeah, it's just that things don't make sense, and we don't have those pieces to the puzzle yet until the police tell us. So maybe they will do a press conference. That would be nice. Before we go, I just wanted to show you this was big news in Australia this morning. And I don't like to be too political, but the FBI killed a man who was making threats against President Biden when he was coming into town, and they shot and killed him. Now, his name was Craig Robinson, and he was facing 3 federal charges, including threats against the president, as well as influencing, impeding, and retaliating against federal law enforcement officers by threat. Investigators noted that Robinson appears to own a sniper rifle and several other firearms. Yeah, very sad, It's I don't want anyone getting shot and killed, but you shouldn't make threats either. So hey, Kat, do you want to be on the show? You got something to say? Apparently my cat has something to say. I don't know what he wants to tell you, but he apparently knows more about this than I do because he keeps meowing. Hey. Shh. Be quiet. He's a naughty boy. All right. I just wanted to show you that last bit, but I won't go too much into it. Just that it did make the news here in Australia, and it is a little, you know, sad in some aspects and not in others. That's all I'll say. I think anytime anyone's killed is a bad thing. But yeah, pretty brutal. I guess that shows you that they don't mess around. Don't make threats against people. That's it. All right, I think we're up to our half an hour. Yep, we are. So I'm going to leave you and love you. We have a huge show tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure I have a massive long show tomorrow night to get ready for. And I think it's going to be like a 2-hour show. So Candy, yeah, he wrote some pretty messed up stuff. I don't want to go into it because we're not a political channel, and I want to stay clear of that kind of crap. But I just wanted to say that it did make its way all the way down here into our news cycle. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow night. I think I'm going to be back tomorrow night on the other channel. I'll be on with Stephanie, and it'll be the George and Stephanie show. I think I have to double check. I know you'll be so thoroughly disappointed if I don't, and that you'll get Trish instead. No, I'm sure you guys will be thrilled to have Trish over me, but we'll see. I have to confirm it with her. But Vegemite Smile, it was good to see you here. Thanks for following the channel. Thanks to everyone who's following the channel. We actually lost 3 subscribers last night. I'm sorry I'm not more entertaining for you. Hopefully we can win them back. We'll win them back eventually. But we should have a new camera here tomorrow, and we'll be able to do the camera again. Camera got knocked off the ledge by my cats, and it should be back and working tomorrow, I think. So other than that, we'll be back to normal stuff. And then Sunday night, we're doing my birthday stream. We'll be doing that. So look forward to that as well. If there's more news, decent news about the mushrooms, I will do another live stream maybe tomorrow, but I may just roll it all into the one show if I end up doing Web Sleuth live on Web Sleuth. So may just do it all in one show. Why not? It's going to be easier. So until then, good night. Have a great sleep because you guys are up real late. And I'll be back sometime tomorrow. We'll find out what time. And thank you to Lynn D for the donation. Again, really, really appreciate it, especially with that camera purchase. Kind of dented the bank account. So I appreciate it. Have a good night, everyone. That's it from me here, Nights with Ping. Good night.